Right now, something invisible is happening inside your arteries every single time you eat sugar. A massive study tracking over 400,000 people uncovered something the food industry rarely mentions. People eating the most carbohydrates, especially heavily processed ones, tended to face a higher risk of early death. Every spike in blood sugar quietly inflames your blood vessels and speeds up cellular aging over time. That kind of damage builds slowly, which is exactly why most people never notice it happening. Years can pass before the first real warning sign ever shows up on a checkup. But before you feel discouraged, here's the part almost nobody bothers to explain clearly at all. Your body is not broken, and none of this damage has to stay permanent or unavoidable. There are foods sitting in ordinary kitchens right now that can help reverse this process. Foods with zero carbs, zero added sugar, and real potential to rebuild your metabolism from within. Stick around, because several of these foods might genuinely surprise you once you understand them. And what you're about to discover may completely change the way you look at your health. Welcome to Real Health Logic. Let's start with something ancient and often misunderstood. Red meat like beef, lamb, venison, and liver. These foods carry zero carbs and zero sugar, yet they're packed with genuinely usable nutrition. Grass-fed red meat delivers iron your blood needs and vitamin B12 your nervous system depends on daily. Your body uses these nutrients to build muscle, repair tissue, and access stored fat for fuel. Beef also naturally contains small amounts of a fat called CLA, sometimes linked to fat metabolism. The evidence there is still developing, so think of it as a bonus, not a guarantee. So it might genuinely be time to release the old fear surrounding natural, unprocessed animal fats. Whole, nutrient-dense animal foods can support a steadier, more resilient metabolism when eaten consistently over time. Next, let's talk about something small, affordable, and often unfairly overlooked: the humble egg itself. Eggs contain nearly every essential building block your body needs, with almost no carbohydrates present. Eating a couple of eggs daily may help stabilize blood sugar and quiet late-night junk cravings. The yolk holds two often ignored nutrients, choline and lecithin, both essential for healthy liver function. Your liver relies on these compounds to produce bile, which helps you properly digest dietary fat. That means eggs give your cells raw material needed to repair, rebuild, and keep functioning well. They're inexpensive, versatile, and one of the simplest additions to almost any daily eating pattern. Now here's a question worth sitting with. What fuels your body once carbohydrates are reduced significantly? The answer often lives in the ocean, inside wild, oily fish like salmon and sardines. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, anchovies, and shellfish are essentially carb-free, yet rich in genuine nutrition overall. These fish deliver omega-3 fatty acids, which research links to lower inflammation throughout the entire body. Reducing inflammation may help your body slowly recover from years of high sugar, high carb eating. Some research also connects higher omega-3 intake with steadier energy and fewer frustrating midday mental slumps. Just try to choose wild-caught fish when possible, since farm varieties often carry fewer nutrients overall. A small shift in fish choice could quietly support clearer thinking and more consistent daily energy. It's a simple swap, yet the potential ripple effect on your brain and body is significant. Now let's address something that spent decades being unfairly demonized: real grass-fed butter itself here. For years, people avoided butter, fearing cholesterol would damage their heart and clog their arteries. But cholesterol actually plays an essential role in producing hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol. That said, saturated fat research remains genuinely mixed, so moderation and personal context still matter here. Grass-fed butter also contains retinol, an active form of vitamin A, beneficial for skin and eyes. It contributes calcium and supports bile production, which helps your body properly absorb dietary fat. Cooking with real butter instead of heavily processed oils may support steadier, more balanced metabolic function. It's less about fear and more about choosing whole ingredients your body actually recognizes and uses. Beyond butter, an entire category of full-fat dairy fits neatly into a lower-carb lifestyle overall. Full-fat Greek yogurt is rich in protein, which helps maintain and repair lean muscle tissue. Kefir contains beneficial microbes that may support gut health and noticeably smoother, more comfortable digestion. And then there's real cheese, cheddar, mozzarella, camembert, brie, parmesan, and tangy goat cheese too. These cheeses are packed with protein and fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. They also carry fatty acids linked to brain function, focus, and steadier mental clarity throughout the day. Choosing real cheese over heavily processed alternatives gives your body far more usable, genuine nutrition. None of this means unlimited amounts. Moderation still matters, but quality clearly makes a real difference. Now, you might be wondering about your usual side dishes, potatoes, rice, and starchy staples. This is exactly where cruciferous vegetables step in. Cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, bok choy, and kale. They contain very few carbs, yet they're densely packed with vitamins, minerals, and protective plant compounds. Swapping starchy sides for these vegetables is one of the smartest small changes you can make. They're rich in sulfur compounds and phytonutrients your liver relies on for natural detoxification processes. Cruciferous vegetables also supply potassium and magnesium, minerals tied to healthier insulin response and fat metabolism. Picture trading a baked potato for sauteed cabbage or roasted broccoli at your very next meal. The taste difference shrinks fast once your palate adjusts away from constant starchy, sugary defaults. Let's simplify even further with one standout leafy green worth knowing: peppery, vibrant arugula itself. It's one of the most nutrient-dense non-starchy vegetables available, with almost zero carbs or sugar. Unlike many leafy greens, arugula is naturally rich in nitrates, which support healthy circulation and blood flow. That matters especially if you exercise regularly or follow a lower carb way of eating daily. Arugula also supplies folate, vitamin C, magnesium, and potassium, key elements for a functioning metabolism. Toss it into a simple salad, or quickly saute it with butter and a little seasoning. It's an easy, almost effortless way to raise the nutritional value of nearly any meal. Now, some people notice bloating or discomfort when suddenly adding more raw vegetables into their meals. Years of processed food can leave your gut needing a gentler transition back toward real, whole food. That's where fermented vegetables quietly shine: sauerkraut, kimchi, and naturally fermented pickles among the options. These foods are typically easier to digest since fermentation introduces beneficial probiotics into every single bite. They support your gut microbiome and provide natural enzymes that help break down other foods better. With virtually zero sugar and minimal carbs, they offer plant benefits without unnecessary digestive discomfort afterward. They can be a gentle, forgiving entry point while your gut slowly adjusts to eating cleaner. Even a small forkful alongside a meal can start making a genuine, noticeable difference over time. Another quiet powerhouse for gut health deserves its own place on this entire list: bone broth. It carries essentially zero carbs or sugar, yet remains deeply comforting and genuinely satisfying to drink. Bone broth is a natural source of collagen, important for skin, joints, and gut lining health. Sipping a warm cup before or alongside meals may support digestion and steadier daily hydration levels. It's an old-fashioned habit worth reviving in a world overflowing with ultra-processed convenience foods everywhere. Many cultures relied on it for generations, long before it became a modern wellness trend. Speaking of hydration, cutting carbs often means your body releases more water and electrolytes than usual. That's why some people feel briefly tired or foggy during the first week of eating differently. Adding a pinch of natural salt to water or broth can help ease that early transition. Magnesium and potassium-rich foods on this list also help replace what your body naturally lets go. Understanding this simple detail can prevent unnecessary discouragement during the first few days of change. When you need a fast, satisfying snack, reach for low-carb nuts like macadamias and pecans. These nuts are rich in monounsaturated fats and contain soluble fiber that supports digestive regularity naturally. A small handful delivers zinc, copper, and selenium while helping keep blood sugar relatively stable. Pair them with a small amount of sugar-free dark chocolate for a satisfying, entirely compliant treat. This kind of snack helps you feel fuller longer, making it easier to resist processed junk food. Portion still matters here since nuts are calorie-dense even though they're genuinely nutrient-rich overall. We can't talk about healthy fats without mentioning two whole food staples: avocado and extra virgin olive oil. Avocado is technically a fruit, rich in monounsaturated fats that provide steady, reliable cellular energy. It contains potassium and magnesium, minerals that support balanced hormones and healthier insulin sensitivity over time. Extra virgin olive oil offers similar benefits, making both excellent staples for everyday cooking and dressing. Together, they form a simple, flexible foundation for almost any low-carb meal you build regularly. For bold flavor without added carbs, mushrooms deserve far more credit than they usually receive. White button, portobello, shiitake, and oyster mushrooms are all essentially carb-free, yet richly nutritious overall. They're packed with fiber, B vitamins, and antioxidants, making them ideal in stir-fries and soups. Sauteed in real butter, mushrooms bring a savory depth without disrupting any of your low-carb goals. They're proof that flavor and nutrition don't have to compete against each other at all. Finally, don't underestimate the quiet power sitting in your spice rack right now today already. Fresh herbs like mint, basil, parsley, oregano, cilantro, dill, rosemary, and thyme carry zero starch. They're rich in antioxidants that may support digestion and help maintain steadier blood sugar levels daily. Bold spices like turmeric, clove, cinnamon, coriander, black pepper, cardamom, ginger, and cayenne bring even more. These spices contain plant compounds linked to supporting liver, pancreas, and overall digestive system function. They contain only trace amounts of carbs, yet deliver outsized flavor and genuine potential health benefits. A pinch here and there transforms an ordinary meal into something far more nourishing and satisfying. There are also a few everyday staples worth mentioning before we wrap up this entire list. Plain black coffee and unsweetened tea carry essentially zero carbs while still delivering real antioxidants. Apple cider vinegar, used sparingly, contains almost no carbs and may gently support digestion after meals. Dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard round out the vegetable side of this approach. They supply iron, folate, and magnesium while keeping total carbohydrate content extremely low across the board. Reading labels carefully still matters, since hidden sugars often appear in sauces, dressings, and packaged snacks. Batch cooking proteins and vegetables ahead of time makes sticking with these choices far more realistic. A well-stocked kitchen filled with these ingredients removes most of the daily decision-making entirely for you. That single habit alone prevents a huge number of impulsive, less nutritious choices later in the day. None of these foods work like magic on their own without some basic consistency involved. Real results tend to come from combining several of these choices together across an entire week. Think of each item less as a rule and more as a helpful, flexible option available. Some weeks you might lean heavily on fish and vegetables, other weeks more on eggs and broth. That flexibility is actually a strength, not a weakness, when building a sustainable long-term eating pattern. Restriction that feels punishing rarely lasts, while flexible structure tends to stick around much longer. It also helps to notice how your body actually responds, not just what a plan says. Some people feel more energy within days, while others need several weeks to notice real change. Sleep quality, stress levels, and movement throughout the day all interact with everything you eat. None of these foods exist in isolation. They work best as part of a bigger daily rhythm. That's worth remembering before comparing your own progress to anyone else's completely different personal journey. Aging itself isn't something any single food can pause or completely reverse on its own. But consistent choices repeated for months and years genuinely shape how your body ages over time. Inflammation, blood sugar stability, and nutrient intake all quietly influence that long-term trajectory day by day. Choosing whole, real foods most of the time gives your body a real fighting chance. Put it all together: quality protein, healthy fats, fiber-rich vegetables, and powerful natural seasonings combined. That combination forms a genuine foundation for steadier energy, better digestion, and long-term metabolic health. None of this requires perfection, extreme restriction, or dramatic overnight changes to your entire lifestyle. Small, consistent swaps, real butter instead of processed oil, vegetables instead of refined starch, add up. Over weeks and months, these choices compound into meaningful, noticeable shifts in how you feel daily. It's rarely one dramatic decision, it's usually dozens of small ones repeated consistently over time. So here's a genuine question worth sitting with for a moment after watching all this. Which of these foods are you most excited to actually add into your week ahead? Maybe it's the bone broth. Maybe it's finally swapping rice for roasted cruciferous vegetables instead. Reclaiming these simple natural ingredients is a realistic, sustainable path toward feeling genuinely better daily. There's no need to overhaul everything overnight. Just start with whichever food feels most doable. Pick one. Try it consistently for a week. And notice how your energy actually responds. Small experiments like that teach you far more than any strict rule ever could alone. Write down how you feel each morning, since small shifts are easy to forget otherwise. Over a month, those daily notes often reveal patterns you'd never notice without tracking them. That kind of simple awareness turns vague intentions into something concrete, measurable, and genuinely motivating. You don't need fancy tools or expensive programs, just honest attention paid to your own body. If this video gave you a new way to think about fueling your body, that's worth sharing. There's real value in slowing down and actually listening to what your body has been signaling. Most people spend years ignoring small warning signs simply because they seem too minor to matter. Choosing differently starting today doesn't erase the past, but it does change what comes next. That shift, however small it feels right now, is genuinely worth taking seriously moving forward. Leave a comment and tell us which food on this list surprised you the most today.